Welcome back! We return for part 2, having concluded the first major arc of the Outsiders campaign, with the reveal of Holiday's true identity. The party took a moment to take in this information. Confusion abounded.
Yep.
Before you all dispersed a little bit.
Yeah, it was an awkward situation because we realized that Ray didn't know, and then Riss and I were both like, gonna ditch here.
Oh yeah, that is an important note. Ray, looking at this figure, calling him Dad, has no idea who she is.
Because the DM likes to be mean like that.
It makes a good story. What can I say?
We love that.
You love it.
Of course
He's
I
like, it's my wife, but she has my eyes and is much younger. Interesting.
She proceeded to talk about how... What are you doing?
Woodcutting.
Put it down!
It's like the,
I'm pulling up the shenana die.
I wanted to get the woodcutting noise in to annoy him.
Ryan.
I'm paying attention. It's AFK.
Okay.
Trey, as you have now discovered what I go through,
Yes.
you understand why I hate it.
Yes.
Help me reel them in.
I'm gonna... No, here's
You
gonna
can't
be the
reel
most
me in.
effective... I can, by making you sit down and listen to it.
I want ice cream.
I'll still do it.
I'm not so sure you will. Because if I make you edit it...
Now, if I agree to it, yes,
Why are you
I
putting
would
your
do it.
face into the microphone like
Because I'm
this?
told to do this.
Oh, okay. I got
You are not told
You
to do
don't
that.
have
No,
to
I
go-
wasn't told
you
to
don't
do
have
this.
Go 2 inches from the microphone. Where I am is fine. Do the little like this thing. Do the what?
Sure.
This I don't know what to call it. It's like the cell phone.
No,
thing,
put
like
your
the
penis
palm-
away.
Please reserve that for when we get home.
That was not me.
How does that not constitute a shenanigans?
No. It very much... I was literally considering reaching for it, and then Amy said that, and completely disrupted my train of thought.
As I do.
Derailed.
Yes. Amy saved you from that one. So, with confusion and questions abounding, Makoto Galdier told her story about how when Dashi came home, he told her that both of her parents were gone. It was a very interesting day when all of a sudden Ray came home. But he was not the man that she remembered.
But not this Ray.
As
Different Ray.
we realize the truth of Ray's situation,
Yep.
that when Dashi cast that wish and wished that Ray was not the man that he made him, a soul is not something easily destroyed, and Dashi had been a formative part of Ray's childhood,
Excuse me.
teaching him everything he knew about magic for the most part. And all of that knowledge, all of that influence, it couldn't just be destroyed. And so instead, Ray's soul was split in two. One half stayed with him, the things that were always true about him: the heart, the care, the determination. But the soldier that Dashi had trained, that half of the soul remained on that battlefield. Until a contingency plan that Dashi had put in place finally came to fruition. Realizing that his daughter was nearing the point where she would no longer be able to be brought back by typical means, Dashi learned the clone spell.
This dude's got issues.
Apparently.
Well, the clone spell, to be fair, in D&D, it's not you're not making a copy.
Right.
You're making a new body for the same soul to go inhabit if the body dies.
Right.
Unfortunately, it takes 120 days for the clone to reach maturity. And Hana died before that came. However, once Ray's clone reached maturity, all of a sudden, that other half of his soul had somewhere to go.
So it's just floating in the nether between when it...
Floating on that battlefield.
Snap.
Along with quite a few other souls.
You want to go soul harvest?
That place is hella haunted, dude.
Oh, wait. I harvest souls, right?
Oh, no. 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 No.
That's a
No!
really
It has
easy
to be-
way for me to pay for my family.
You are not taking those lives.
That would be a very
Einar is
conflictive
neutral
No!
evil. It can happen.
Ray doesn't know their faces or their names, but he knows their spirits.
Ray doesn't need to know.
Ray will find out.
Actually,
Probably will.
This is sort of a side note, but why is Ray called Ray and Kosen Kosen? Are they're the same person?
We're actually about to get into that.
Yes.
Okay.
Right now. Good segue.
Oh,
Indeed.
thank you.
Which I might just cut that whole section out, but
Yes, because this is a recap.
Yeah.
yes.
I harvest souls. Spoiler!
That's true.
God, that's right.
We just need
I want that reveal at the end of the wyvern fight.
Jeez.
Well, technically, it'd be the Cyclops.
It would
That's
be the
true.
Cyclops first.
Well, what? No, the Cyclops was after that.
Nope.
No?
No, it was
the
not.
first
Cyclops
soul-
is on the boat.
Cyclops was the first soul I harvested.
Where was the Yeah, that's what I thought. Where was the wyvern though?
Wyvern
The wyvern
was
was
in the
during
race.
the race.
Oh, okay. See, we were on Miranova, like. I thought
Oh,
we were
yeah,
on-
no, that wyvern happened a long time before.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that you didn't absorb that one's soul.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Oh! Shut up.
That's why I was like, you took that wyvern? I was like, what the hell?
when this Ray, Dashi, it's not that Dashi didn't teach Ray to be a good person. It's that Ray already was. And so Dashi didn't need to teach him that. And so everything that Dashi did train Ray for was how to be a perfect soldier. How to advance through the ranks of the military. The skill in the arcane. That is what this person was. The other half of Ray's soul. Who at first went by that same name. But as time went on, he realized that there was a hollowness. The other half had all the memories of loving Hana and Makoto, had the memories of raising this family, but none of the love. That was something innate to Ray that never had to be taught to him. And so it stayed with him. And so the other half had all those memories and none of the heart behind it. And that grew to be extremely frustrating. Eventually, he knew that he needed to distance himself because he was not the man that everyone knew as Ray. To be fair, neither is the one we now know as Ray.
Very different person.
But the other half was surrounded by everyone who did know him prior. And so, he took on a new name. Kozen. A name fitting of his loyalty to paradise. And his goals moving forward. Kozen tried to keep hold of Makoto, keep her close. But she eventually cornered Dashi and demanded to know what happened. To which he told her. Makoto, very much her father's daughter, decided that this would not stand and went and made a deal with the Lady Masquerade. She would give her. Makoto would give Yinzi her name. The very essence of who she was. And in return, she just wanted to find her dad. The Lady Masquerade obliged. And a small little Kenku with no memory showed up in the Mirian forest.
That wench. Doing that to my little girl.
Your little girl did it to herself!
She agreed to it. She
She
said,
didn't disagree to it, she's the one who offered!
So Miranova's not to blame. She was the delivery
no,
woman.
Yinzi.
Yinzi. Miranov is definitely not to blame.
I'm having trouble with names tonight.
So I can see. So, as Makoto recounted that story to Rei, Riz decided to go on a walk.
Yep.
And went to go explore the library, looking for historical records on others in his very unique situation of serving both a god and one of the Fey courts. Something that apparently had been shared by a select few in the past, but was still exceedingly rare. And while very much feeling like a third wheel, Einar saw father and daughter reunion and said, cool. Bye. And left them to catch up. And while he did that, Einar was found by the Lady Masquerade herself and instructed to follow.
And
he
do
did.
other things.
Whoa.
Quite a few other
Spoilers.
Yinzi took Einar to a
Bed chamber.
one.
It was begging to be asked. Only one? Wow.
You deserve more.
Let's savor that. No, I don't. I've taken too many fours.
I don't care. You've earned those 4s by now.
True.
We let the motion pass.
Make sure you mark that down, Shanana die.
I'm still way behind you, my friend.
That is true.
And I'm way behind you both. I got one.
Yeah.
You need to step up your Shanana game.
No!
Yeah. He's trying to work on his editing game, and he does not want to work in
I
that
got too
department.
much to focus
I
on.
have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Wow. That's more than I thought.
Yeah.
For who? Noah?
No, I
have
do.
one.
Amy does.
Oh.
Noah
Amy
has
does.
1.
Yeah.
Ryan has 10, 11, 12, 13, 18,
few
20,
numbers there.
21.
Hey, 21.
Will has... You were really in top form the first episode. You got
really was.
4.
Yeah.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yeah, this is 16.
Wow, you're not as far away as I thought.
That's actually, about, I was like, I'm probably a session or 2 behind.
So, Yinzi led Einar into a study, a place where she had been conducting research, because as the goddess of knowledge, she was deeply disturbed. Something was missing. Something she knew she was supposed to know was gone. And she'd been doing research, trying to find the gaps, figure out what could fill. That's on me. No one's receiving Shanana dice for laughing. That's on me. That was not done intentionally.
Please, finish your thought.
Nope. I'm gonna just restart that sentence. I'm gonna give everyone a second to calm down.
Honestly, I wasn't paying that much attention to what you were saying. I just caught the very
She
end
was.
of it.
She had a hole in her knowledge and needed something to fill that gap.
Mm-hmm.
So she grabbed Einar.
Yeah. Technically, he was only stripped from the
Shut up.
waist up.
Shit.
Listen,
It's your fault.
I know it is. She knew something was missing.
Go fill that gap, Goliath.
2. We focus back in. Now you deserved it. Are you done?
can I say one thing without shooting a die?
I really want to say one thing.
See, I show restraint. I have something I want to say.
Oh,
but I'm
just say
refusing
it.
Nope.
As discussed earlier, you don't need to take your pants off.
Thank you. Also, our residential gap filler. Now that's his title.
He has permission.
No. I'm agreeing. I'm just pointing at.
It was
I know.
acknowledging the gap filler.
Yes.
Look, if anyone could fill it, it'd be the Goliath. So.
It's very accurate.
She is
Accurate statement,
She is
not
a
an
deity
accurate
after
throw.
all.
What?
Stop it.
Said she is a deity after all.
True.
Stop it. A lot of hit points there. Just damn it, stop, Amy.
You have as little control over yourself as I have over you.
Yep.
Yeah, that dice is probably gone.
It wasn't a die.
Oh, it wasn't? Okay.
Please don't. It's a fidget cube.
It's my fidget cube.
Does it make noise?
Some parts of it do.
Yes.
Where?
That's what she said.
A lot of those things click in.
What do I need to press to make noise?
There's some buttons.
What? I'm asking a question.
No, you take your goddamn shenanigans.
I don't know what you're talking about. All I did was ask a question.
Baiting
Yes,
me.
a loaded one.
Baiting
We'll
me.
tell you when you're older.
What about that question was loaded?
We'll tell you when you're older.
A loaded question.
If you say that word one more time, you're getting another one.
Might as well finish your joke to completion.
1. God damn it.
I mean, you
start-
had to make sure everyone was satisfied.
That's right.
Nope. You take 3.
Oh, Lord. All right. Serious
All right,
faces,
now that we've
serious
reached the
faces.
climax of that joke chain, we're done.
2.
I'm done. That's what she said.
Yes!
Another 2.
Oh, I know it's for.
No.
All right, yes, that's
I don't even remember all the ones that were.
You
I got
received
2.
1.
I got 2.
You got 2 and 3 damage total.
I also got 2.
I'm not marking down the damage, so I'm just marking
fair.
down.
Well, it's just for me, yeah.
I got 2 for 3 damage.
Yeah.
Same amount that you took in 1.
Are we?
Yes.
You can't even ask that question.
Can't even ask that question. God damn it!
We finished. You may continue. Are you ready?
Okay. Yinzi knew that there was something missing. And she needed answers. And it seemed Einar had been investigating very similar things.
Well, investigating's kind of a strong word.
He
More
made
of...
deals with an extraplanar entity to get some information on this.
I mean, I was curious. I don't know. I would say investigate. Einar hasn't committed enough to say investigate. He's more so happy.
Einar's not intelligent enough to investigate. He just happened to be lucky.
Yes, I would agree with
I
that.
wouldn't
In more
say
ways
lucky.
than
Well,
one.
yeah. That comes later.
Einar perhaps had not been investigating, but had been pursuing information that aligned with what she had found fit the mold for what had been removed. She had theories and showed Einar something retrieved. And I'm not sure if I mentioned it at the time, but I intended to. And so if I didn't then, I'll say it now. That portrait was retrieved from the Shattered Realm.
Oh, okay.
A portrait showing 3 figures. 2 of them Einar recognized, as he had just met the 2 deities, Chimera, the Scarlet Blade, and Yin-Zi, the Lady Masquerade. Standing alongside a 3rd figure, male, dark skin, black armor. Handsome in his own way, but not so much familiarity. It was then that the party began to theorize in earnest. Ideas had come up before of who Varro was, why there didn't seem to be much of any information on him. But now a solid idea seemed to be forming. That perhaps he hadn't always been this way. That the Shadow King... Well, there wasn't enough information to draw any conclusions. But as Yin-Zi examined the mark that had grown even further across Einar, she made note and told him to keep investigating, because when it comes down to it, mortals have a lot more freedom than gods do.
Don't you have an item to contact one of her lieutenants?
No, I just have sending.
Yeah, it is Yin-Zi gave Einar the name of one of her lieutenants, one of her librarians,
Okay.
so that if he found new information, he could send it. Because you do not use sending directly to a god unless y'all want to get smote.
We could try.
You can try
Risk it not.
if you're ready to start campaign 2.
Alright, it's noted that when we go, okay, we're tired of this campaign.
Well, Yin-Zi's not her name, right? Not her true name.
It's enough to... no, it's not her true name, but it's enough to...
Get the spell across?
For sending? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a creature you're familiar with.
Y'all can do that and die, and then Russ will go a little bizarre, and I'll be happy.
What does knowing someone's true name do?
That depends how experienced with the arcane you are.
Oh, so
In the right hands, you could gain complete control over something
Okay.
by knowing their true name.
Out of curiosity, is
Yes.
true name like birth name, or is that like
No.
whatever name?
There is power in what your, we'll say, legal name is.
Mhm.
There is power inherent in that, especially when it comes to the Fae. And that is what, for instance, Makoto gave up, and hence her identity. But there is also the concept of a person's true name, which is the culmination of everything that they are, their very soul. Similar concepts exist in Egyptian mythology, in the Aragon series,
Yeah.
and in the hands of the right person, with the right knowledge, if you found the true name of a deity, you could control them. Now, exerting that power outside of emergencies would probably lead to them doing everything they could to destroy you so that no one knows their name. But it still could exist.
So it's more than just 2 or 3 terms slapped together to make a name.
Your true name
For
is...
some people, yes, if they're that simple.
I mean, to a degree. It's... I do like the way I approach it. The way I approach it is very much the way it was approached in the Kane Chronicles and in Egyptian mythology overall, which is it is often a phrase that is linked and indicative. It's not like a descriptive word. But for instance, in the Kane Chronicles, the god Set, his true name is retrieved by the heroes, and that's how they win the first book. And his true name is Evil Day. Because the set was one of the ones born on the days that were stolen, and so each one of them had a. So it's a whole thing.
Gotcha.
If
I
Ray
don't know what the answer is.
learns his true name, could he then use it to have power over Cozen?
That's what I was thinking. That's why I
Or
asked.
would
those
they
questions.
have two separate names now?
I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't know.
I like the idea of that 2 separate names, but
It's
maybe
one
one or
soul.
2 phrase
Yeah.
is similar, but then you have the separation phrases.
What
So
it would
it's-
likely if I had to rule it right now in this moment, I would say that Ray's true name would be similar to the second one, where it's like a little bit longer, and it was also split.
Yep.
So, but if either of you were to delve inwardly and find it, you would find the whole thing,
Okay.
and it would just be determining which part is whose. That's I don't know if that's how I will rule it. I'm saying if I had to make a decision right now, that's how I would.
Got it.
So, returning to focusing. Yinzi thanked Einar for his willingness to help and let him return to his friends. As the party convened and began trying to figure out, okay, what now?
Now what? Now what?
And while gathered in a section of the library where they finally found Riss, the floor opened from underneath them. And they found themselves falling.
Oh, I think I remember
That's
this.
right. Yeah.
This is where Big Boy comes in.
Yup.
The party found themselves waking up in a tavern, as if they had been sitting there and just drifted off to sleep. Inside that tavern, a few figures, but most notably, an absolutely massive brass dragonborn.
Little
Oh.
brass on this guy.
And I played a character in that.
Yeah,
Yes, you did!
Yeah, I played Makoto's childhood friend who is
Oh,
like...
they were childhood friends? Cool.
Yeah, and I was like,
Sad.
is your dad still a dick or is he cool again now?
That is very accurate.
Because I know Cozen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
She's off
I'm
doing
the good
something.
one.
Yeah.
Indeed. They proceeded to discover that they were in a
Dreamscape.
dreamscape orchestrated by Eroi, the
Dude.
spirit of stories and dreams, to warn them of an oncoming threat. A presence of aberrations that were intent on invading the material plane. It was something that Eroi, as a deity invested in the continued existence of heroes and the world in general, thought it would be good for you to know. The Dragonborn, Rio, was a champion of his, which my dad, who was in town, got to sit down and play.
Yeah, that was a fun time.
That was a
a
good
very
time.
fun time. It also was the first time we had a character death.
Okay.
As Riss
Yeah.
decided to be a dumbass and
Riss
seeing a barrier of energy
You
surrounded...
say that. Wait. You say that like it's the first time he's done that.
No, but this is especially so.
Yes.
This is a special instance of stupid.
Because upon approaching a barrier of energy surrounded by skeletons, Riss thought, I know what I should do.
Now, to be fair, he touched it with his skeleton hand to see.
You still touched it!
To be fair, that is par with his intelligence.
I can't deny that. Regardless, the equivalent of power word kill happened, and Riss was reduced to nothing more than a skeleton. I don't remember how y'all...
He had Revivify.
Oh, yeah, I
Yeah.
slapped
Yeah.
a diamond on him and went, no! Look, clear! Redo!
That's right.
Yes.
And
with,
I think I proceeded to slap him and call him a dumbass.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds right. But upon being revived very quickly, Rhys realized that he could use his abilities from being the lieutenant of the Queen of Night, and used the spell Arcanist's Magic Aura to make all of the party members present appear to be aberrations, a creature type that could move through the barrier freely.
There you go. Wasn't I the one that said that too? I feel like I was the one that wait, you can make us all seem like aberrations, right?
I believe so.
Something, yeah, probably. Because again, I had a lot to do, well, a lot I could do, and I was.
You have so much with your character that you just didn't use.
I mean, let's be honest. We all do. I still
No, my
don't
guy's
remember.
pretty simple.
Okay, your guy maybe. I still forget half of the things that I can do.
Mm-hmm.
Like when we realized that I
My
can use that
character's
spear
very
thing
simple.
that I've never summoned again.
Oh yeah,
Your what?
the spear thing that I used to like.
you summoned it during the race, didn't you?
Nope.
No.
No, that was
To be
Varus'
fair,
spear.
summoning the spear disabled Harold for a while.
Not as long as the.
Not as long as a mansion, no.
Mansion.
But, yeah.
Yeah, true. Now you just summon Harold.
Out of curiosity,
Yo.
as I level up, does Harold also get stronger? If he's like follows with me and he's like knows my knowledge and stuff like that.
Does Harold seem more powerful now than when we first met him?
Oh, 100%.
Einar would be the only one who would be able to discern.
I mean, either.
So you can go ahead and make an insight check.
Alright, well,
Do it. Do it.
Retro.
Insight, that's 17.
17?
Yeah.
Does
I'm
seem
alive.
at least partially more powerful. Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Roll that pyramid.
18.
You got that?
He does seem somewhat more powerful.
Okay. Oh, also, another side note, real quick. What were the walls made of in that dream?
Nastiness.
I remember his nastiness. What kind of nastiness was it?
As they delved through this dreamscape, they found that they appeared to be in a living fortress.
Wait, I see exactly where you're going with this.
I was wondering when you were going to notice. We're like picking out, oh, is this the aberrations, or is this the aberrations, or is this the aberrations? Then I give you actual aberrations, and you're like, cool, let's just get in and get out as fast as we can.
We're good at that.
Yep.
So is Einar.
But, by the way, remember, Trey, that was like a year ago. Like whenever this table was not finished.
I know.
when we did that. Yes, for those who don't know, there is a beautiful table that was built by yours truly that we used to play on.
It is shaped like the Millennium Falcon.
Yes,
Kind of
it
is, yeah.
And it's glorious.
And it's perfect.
I'm sitting on the butt.
No, as am I.
So,
You're the engines.
I hate that we thought of the same thing. We didn't even do a Millennium Falcon noise. We were doing motorcycles. Anyways.
they delved into what seemed to be a living fortress, fighting entities known as core spawn. Strange and alien creatures, aberrations. And upon defeating a final boss, if you will, they completed their task, and Iroi gave them a bit of direction.
If you want to call it that.
Iroi, as the spirit of dreams and stories, even he was missing the information that you all sought onto Varro's true nature and his origins. But there was a place you could go to find that information. The center of Iroi's power. The Vault of Dreams. A place where stories are preserved for eternity. A place that, if you are able to find and bring the keys to it, you can find out about anything that has ever happened. Even that which is beyond the knowledge of the gods. And so he instructed you. This is what you should seek. This is where you can find your answers. All you have to do is find the 3 black books that act as the keys to the vault. And so, the outsiders, through Eroy's power, were returned to the city of Searsport. They proceeded to spend some downtime, and using the vast amount of money that they still had from working in Empaios, Ray bought a boat.
Yeah, I did.
Upon me making, I think
Our boat.
I made...
My boat.
Yeah, look, I'm gonna be honest. He can keep his boat.
Bless you.
Bless you.
After I think I made 3 entire sets of crews.
You did,
Yep.
yes. We interviewed each individual crew member.
Yes, you did.
And one was immediately turned down just by Riss's reaction.
Yep.
Riss
Because-
was far too attracted to one crew member.
Riss stood straight up, and he wasn't the only one. And we immediately told him no.
Take your 3.
Riss was like, when would you like to start?
And we went, thank you, no.
Yes, Will decided, I'm going to roll to see if I'm attracted to this woman. And rolled a natural 20. And both Ray and Einar, and Ryan and Noah, looked at each other, said, nope, and thanked her so that she could go on her way. Because that was not something they were willing to deal with.
And Will loved it. Riss was heartbroken.
Sure he was.
But the crew was eventually assembled on a ship known as the Renegade. Built out of stormwood, a special blue type of wood sacred to Kuokua, the Skyrider. Stormwood known for being lightweight but incredibly strong. On the Renegade, you had Reagan, your captain, a human warlock. Your first mate that you chose was Daphne, a human sorcerer, specifically a storm sorcerer. Your bosun was Karim,
Oh, man.
a turtle,
Love Kareem.
storm herald barbarian.
Yeah, he is.
Your quartermaster or navigator was Kailani, an Ore, Way of the Four Elements monk. Your surgeon was Kaya Kanehi, a
Don't look at me.
human tempest cleric from Vala. And last but not least, your cook.
The
Abdul,
man, the myth,
Abdul.
the legend,
Oh.
Abdul!
We love him!
the Aragonasi artificer from Aeris,
We love Abdul.
who cast all of his spells by giving people food.
Oh, man, he was the best.
The dude fought with us!
He did.
He wasn't supposed to, but he did.
He was gonna die.
got tons of
he
spirit.
did! He got knocked down.
So,
You saved him, though. He didn't die.
No, yeah.
I refuse to ever let that man die. Einar would rather betray Varro than let that man die. And that's a strong...
Write that down, right?
Strong.
Can I get that in writing with your signature? And Harold's signature too.
Do we need the regents as well, or should we keep him out of that?
Nah, he doesn't need to know.
Alright, cool.
Regent's dick.
anyway, you found your crew, and instead of seeking teleportation or just walking or anything else, you decided, yeah, we're gonna sail down. And began your trek down the eastern coast of the continent of Kavoris. 22-day trip.
Oh man, it felt
Which-
like freaking forever.
And funny enough, you were the only one that had to endure every bit of that trip.
Thing. Yep.
3 weeks.
Yep.
I'm just saying because Ray and Riss bounced at one point.
Yep.
That is 100% true.
But that's spoilers.
Yes.
We'll get to that.
On the ship, you had a few adventures, including an encounter where you found an island with a Cyclops inhabiting it. Some foreshadowing jokes in reference to the Odyssey that I was very proud of. And that was the first time. One, it was the moment where the outsiders fell completely in love with Abdul, because this level 3 artificer decided to join them on their
Excursion, yeah.
on their excursion to this island, and fought alongside them very valiantly and very stupidly.
I remember Riss and him bonding because they snuck around all the time. Riss was
Yes,
like,
it was
learn my way.
also the instance where, because of a combination of Pass Without Trace,
favorite terrain.
favorite terrain, and a natural 20 on stealth, Riss surpassed, I think you got a higher than a 40.
It was a 42.
Yep.
If I
Yeah.
remember correctly.
And so, as far as the universe was concerned, you were gone. Beautiful. And last but not least, upon defeating the Cyclops, it was the first instance of Einar using a newfound ability as he cast Blight to take out any remaining hit points that the Cyclops had. He found it devoured by darkness and absorbed it. Its very essence. Riss witnessed this, said, "Cool, we're not talking about that." And it was, I think,
it was more of, I'm not telling Ray.
yeah, that's fair.
Definitely Ray will not like this. We keep quiet.
Indeed.
This is
And
our
Riss
secret.
was like, buddy, you don't have to tell me.
Don't tell Dad.
That was very much how
Yes.
it was. Don't tell Dad.
Another instance along the journey was an attack on the ship by a group of
Merfolk.
they weren't merfolk. I think they were
More-
marrow.
Marrow.
Yeah.
This group of marrow attacked the ship, and with
And they called like a kraken.
that was the one shot.
No, they didn't call it
That
Kraken.
was
They
one
had.
shot.
I think
There
they-
was something there because Reagan was attacking something on the side of the boat. I don't remember.
There was like
Reagan
a
summoned
leader.
that. Remember?
Reagan summoned
Oh,
the
that's
tentacle.
right. Ugh.
Yeah, there was like a leader to the merfolk or whatever.
Marrow,
whatever.
Yeah.
Please get to where Aina gets gangbanged in the water.
You hush.
Spoilers.
Upon being attacked by a group of marrow, they discovered the abilities that the captain they had hired had kept hidden thus far, being that she was a warlock with the Fathomless patron, was able to summon what appeared to be the appendages of a kraken in order to help defend the ship. Unfortunately, during the fight, Einar was pulled overboard and dragged underwater. While Karim was able to dive after him and rescue him, the experience was...
Traumatizing. It was traumatizing.
Yeah.
Einar is a desert boy. He likes the sand and does not like water.
It's
Water
cold
is-
and wet and gets everywhere.
I was gonna say it's slippery, it's wet, and gets everywhere, but yeah, very close.
Yes.
Will, go for it.
That's what she said.
You take your two.
Honestly, I feel like Ryan needs to take half of that because he
You take one of the
incited
damage, but the Shenanigans is still his.
Nah, fine.
You encouraged it.
I don't know if you saw, but
just-
once you said that, my eyes went. I was like,
it. I could actually feel the tension over here.
That's why I looked immediately at him.
As Will tried to determine: do I say it? Do I say it?
So, in addition to encountering a scene right out of Greek mythology, there was also a moment where the party received a notification from Saravina that he had found the statue.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
He used the crown of the traveler to bring you to his home.
We straight up pieced out from the boat that we were on.
Yep.
And it was in this moment that I realized we could have asked Saravina to port us to Aeris.
And then he said, never mind, I wanted the boat.
But yeah, I wanted the boat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the boat.
And we will never use that boat again.
Yeah, we will.
I doubt it.
I don't trust Saravina anymore after what happened. Spoilers.
You received a notification from Saravina that he had found the second statue. He opened a portal using the crown of the traveler, retrieving you all from your ship, along with Reagan and Kaya, who decided to accompany you. With Daphne taking lead on the ship in Reagan's absence, you traveled through the forest towards the ancient ruins of what is commonly known as the Forest Kingdom. Along the way, Einar began experiencing, we'll call it symptoms. As each night when he rested, he had to make a saving throw or gain points of corruption, which slowly began to take a toll on him, including moral decay, taking his alignment from neutral good.
It was like somewhere in the line between neutral and neutral good. Einar's mostly good.
Yeah.
Or was.
He's only mostly good.
And dropping that down a little bit more and more as time went on.
So that's how it happened. Ah, okay.
Oh, you didn't know that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
It's never been
corruption-
explicitly,
correct. I didn't know.
but
that
at this
how
point,
corruption-
it's, yeah.
yeah, kind of cool.
They traveled into the ruined palace of King Jacob, and were given information from Malia, who had scouted out this location. She told you of a type of creature that inhabited the area, a dangerous creature known as the Weary. You infiltrated the palace, and Ray used a new magic item he had bought to seal off the tunnel entrance where the Weary could be found, allowing the party to access the statue without too much issue. That wall of force did not protect them from the other creature that was lying in wait.
The big bad, if you will.
We skipped the entire dungeon and just went right to the boss room.
Yeah, you kind of did.
Yeah, we kind of did.
A bone claw, a undead creature that is bound to a location.
Do one of you have turn undead?
I do.
Continue.
I think it's too high of a challenge rating to have worked against them.
Okay.
Yeah. I could only do little guys.
Indeed.
You could have told the Weary to piss off.
Those...
Weary were aberrations.
Oh, wow. What's an undead doing controlling aberrations?
They weren't. They were both placed there to defend the statue, but by different sources.
Who's placing things?
No,
No, you
that's
know,
not
you did
Varro.
research on this. The Weary were there because that was the statue. That was
Yeah, that was the statue that the Hollow King...
yeah. So that's why the Weary were there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The Bone Claw was there because of Varro. You knew that
Right.
because the statue influenced King Jacob.
Correct.
Yeah. So they weren't controlling each other. They were both just there.
They're both like, you protecting the statue? Yeah. Yeah.
Well, additionally, the Bone Claw can't be exhausted, and the Weary didn't get close enough to
Ah, true, yeah.
be a threat to the Bone Claw. So Yeah. They were kind of just a non-threat to each other.
Looking at each other through the window.
But a undead creature that they were able to identify as what remained of the ancient King Jacob. A king from the 7th age, a little over 1,000 years prior to when this story takes place. The rise and fall of the Four Kingdoms, one of which, the Forest Kingdom, had King Jacob as its leader. But as his palace was built around an item of great power, a statue to Varro, it corrupted him over time. And when he died, it transformed him into the undead creature you saw before you.
Undead don't have souls, right?
No, they do.
It's the same soul?
I could have absorbed him.
Yep.
Actually, you probably wouldn't have been able to do this one, because you can't truly kill him.
Oh.
Bone Claws have a feature called Rejuvenation. While its master lives, a destroyed Bone Claw gains a new body in 1d10 hours, with all its hit points.
So does that mean that Saravina had to fight him again?
You don't know.
That's not what I'm concerned about. While its master lives? Who's its master?
Who do you think?
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
We can't kill that thing.
Could kill what it is currently.
Huh?
Don't worry, I'm following with you. I'm really the only one who needs to know that kind of stuff, because I'm the only one who's trying to follow that story.
I don't think that's
talking
true.
about?
I don't think that's true. I think everyone is.
I'm more invested in your... I'm done with Ray's story.
Ray is not, though. Einar is. That's the thing. Riss is just kind of along for the ride. Ray, as of recent, has started to become interested in Varro.
Ray had a phone call with Coulson and gave him the bird and said, "Piss off. I got something bigger on my plate.
That's true.
You can stay at home with the lights on and wait. I ain't coming home."
Do you think we could, try and trap Coulson into making him fight Varro and then just have Varro annihilate him?
No. Because at that point, I just refuse. I'm not going to do that.
Do you know how to refuse?
Yes.
Okay.
That island with the thing.
No, I just find it very funny that it's, do you know how to refuse?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what I thought. Yeah, I was like, this is a confusing conversation. There's no refusing, there's fusing.
That was funny.
So, you did battle with what remained of King Jacob. And after he was defeated, there was a moment of tension as the party silently debated who would step forward. Riss, before the battle was even over, considered it, but was given a strong sensation from his link to the Feywild that it would not be a good idea. Einar decided he would move forward, but he was beaten to the punch by Ray.
Don't say punch.
As Ray placed his hand on the statue, he found himself unable to remove it. And it began killing him.
Yep.
Ray was unwilling to let go, despite Makoto and Einar and Riss and Reagan all attempting to get him away from it, to stop him somehow.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's y'all's fault my hand went snap.
No!
You put it on there.
Yes,
and you
I
had
did.
options to take it off.
And that was my decision. What wasn't my decision was getting bitch slapped by all my comrades.
I don't think I did any damage.
No, you didn't. You're fine. I'm not mad at you.
Reagan, however, with her warlock invocation of
Was it Eldritch Blast that just shot him?
It is
End over him?
the Warlock invocation that causes Eldritch Blast to move a creature back.
Yep. She's fired.
No, she's not.
No, she's not. But she is. It's my ship.
Yes. Because Reagan had Repelling Blast as a Warlock invocation, because Ray happened to be standing on the statue's outstretched hand, kneeling down with his hand up against it, fused to the surface. Reagan fired an Eldritch Blast, which would push Ray back 10 feet. Ray was given the option as to whether he was going to try and let go. He refused. And his entire body weight came down as his body was sent over the edge, but his hand stayed fused to the statue. His arm was not okay.
What arm?
It was still there.
The bones were all in...
Very floppy.
The bones were mushy.
The bones were
I'm going to
cereal.
cut this out, but it was a very flaccid arm.
No, that is a technical term.
I know.
So,
I'm not including it because it's gross, but I wanted to say it because it's funny. I'm not wrong.
Roll yourself a shenanigan die.
No.
he debated it and went, I am the DM. I don't get those.
No.
Take 2 points of shenanigan die damage.
3
from
out of
Ray.
the 4 of you have to agree for it to apply to me.
I mean,
Listen, he can dish it right back, my friend. I'm not.
But he gave us the option.
I kind of feel like with what you've made them do shenanigan die for, I kind of agree that it would be.
No,
worth
if you do, then I will
shenanigan
take
die.
it. If 3 out of 4 of you agree.
I didn't think it-
75%.
I have to stick by what I've said. I didn't think it was one.
So you're placing a present vote?
He's placing a
Negative.
no. So
Okay.
we got 2 for yay, 1 for nay.
Amy. This is our one chance.
it's not.
Amy was not paying attention. I don't think it's gonna pass.
Yes or
That's
no?
fine.
Shenanigan die for the DM.
If you will let me interject the word flaccid at some other point,
No.
then take your damage.
That's fine. That's fine. I will roll myself.
Yay! I'm tied
take
for
2.
last now.
I take my 2 damage. I don't know where that damage goes. Varro just goes,
Here goes the whoop.
or Eroy.
Nah, why would... No.
Well, Eroy's
Eroy
the
is
closest
me.
to Trey.
Nah, we don't want to hurt Eroy.
No.
You can throw it on a monster of your choice.
Collectively, every person in Arklands
Just looks like a paper cut.
Yeah, just like a tiny little prick. Like
Wait,
ow.
wait. What if we have the option to, whenever he gets a shenanigan die, we get to put it on a monster that we choose? It can, like, stack up.
It wouldn't be that you choose, because I don't want to give you incentive to give it out when it's not deserved.
Right. Well, yeah, it would only be when it's deserved, obviously.
Yeah,
Obviously.
we are all gonna.
I would apply it in appropriate circumstances.
There we go.
It's my excuse to if like you've gotten really close to killing something,
Like flavor
and
points?
it's like 1 or 2 points away from being dead, but you just missed it. It's like
We have 2 points now.
We have some shenanigan
I got
damage in the bank.
in the bank. Yeah,
I like that.
We got some shenanigan damage in the shenanigan bank.
I like it.
okay. Focusing back in,
I don't know how this has become such a big thing, but I love
it's
it.
fantastic. Reagan did not intend to damage Ray's arm the way that she did.
But she did.
And after helping him back up, she kneeled down next to him and told
said,
him,
Please don't fire me. Please don't fire me.
no, but she told him that she understood as a captain herself. However, I think it was who was the one that called up to you?
Me and Makoto both were.
There was someone who called up, but you didn't hear them.
Oh, I called up.
I think it was Makoto.
Well, I called up to him saying, like, don't abandon your daughter again, or something
That-
like that.
right,
And then
yes.
he didn't hear that, but there's something with Makoto.
That was,
there.
With the combined efforts of Einar and Makoto calling up to Rei, the words seemed to pass him by. But he could swear that he heard the voice of his wife telling him not to throw away his life.
Let go, Luke.
And so, Rei let go. His arm...
That was more ceremonial and, what's the word, influential for the character than I realized at the time.
Mm.
Let go, Rei. It was more than just the hand,
Yep.
which I don't have anymore. I
Well,
also
you
don't
let it go.
Yeah, look, I did let it go. I lost my wife, I lost my hand, now you...
Rei finally released. And Rei finally let go. And the party realized they had upheld their end of the bargain. They found the statue. None of them were required to take it. And so, they left. Brought back by portal for Saravina, and getting a good night of rest. Saravina returned them to the ship as it continued its voyage down towards the Aerisian Republic. However, a few incidents happened in very quick succession. After the encounter with the statue and the message, it seemed, that Rhys had been given, he attempted to commune with the Fae that he was loyal to, and found himself whisked away, vanished, without a trace, and appearing in the realm of Tartarus.
Tartar sauce. Sorry.
Hush. Einar decided that he would use a spell, one that most clerics use often and have no issue, but it posed a unique set of circumstances as Einar cast Commune, because at this point he had officially moved his allegiance. Einar was no longer a grave cleric to Amar, the Arid King. He was now a cleric of the Order domain.
Oh, that's cool.
Yep.
For
I'm gonna
Varro,
look up that class now, because that's
the Shadow
freaking
King.
Cool.
Einar was now a Order domain cleric for Varro.
Which is funny because Einar has become more chaotic since that happened.
Very true. Very
You
true.
have an order, and that
Wait.
order is chaos.
Yeah.
I love that. I'm gonna use that line.
And with his newfound allegiance, Einar cast Commune and was able to ask Varro questions directly. One of which froze the water around the ship as he asked a question that seemed to enrage the Shadow King.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot
Did you
about that.
kill her? You said what, fool?
When Einar asked if Varro had killed Miranova, the Everqueen, the response was a adamant no, combined with a show of anger that froze the ship in place until the crew could remove the ice. And finally, in our last session before we went to break once more, Rei reached out to Saravina After everything that happened, he wanted to look into a new type of magic. Magic of artifice. Of creating magical items. A type of magic that Saravina himself used. So he requested that Saravina could teach him. And Saravina happily honored that request. Using the portal, using the Crown of the Traveler to bring Ray back to his home once more. Leaving Einar and Makoto to finish the voyage. And on the last session that we did in 2020.
Oh my gosh.
I had Ray roll a wisdom save, to which he rolled a natural 1, and found himself in a dreamlike state, walking to the armory that Saravina had in his home, finding a dagger and plunging it into his own heart.
That was dumb.
A month and a half later.
Wait. Why did that happen?
You don't know.
I want to know, though.
At this point, given... I'll tell you what. Roll a d20.
Natural 20. Ooh, that's pretty good.
17.
It's enough. 15 or higher, I was going to tell you. So, different statues have different ways of transferring the mark. Yours was the interruption of the ritual. If someone had just gone up and touched a statue in the middle of the day in your hometown, nothing would have happened. It was the interruption of the ritual that caused that. You are unaware of what the transfer method of the third statue is.
Okay.
But for the second statue, you had to die. It was the statue created by the Hollow King, the god of surrender. You had to hold on and stay until you died. The statue, the next morning, would bring you back to life, and you would have the mark. You had a partial mark, and so it was trying to finish the job. The only reason you did not have the
Hana.
mark is because Hana saved you.
Holy crap! That's so cool. Saravina killed himself.
Yeah.
Saravina allowed the statue to go.
What would have been the implications if I had touched it?
It would bring you back to life, so...
Without?
Unclear! I would have had to... Look,
That
I
would've been
don't
a
think
whole
through
lot of-
every option.
Oh,
I
yeah.
deal with them as they come up. For instance, the fucking shard?
Yeah.
Yep. We'll get to that
We'll get to that.
in episode 6. Yes.
Dang, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool
I
lore.
was sitting on that mechanic for a while, and it's just like, you had no idea what was going on. But yeah, anytime, that's why anytime anyone touched the statue, it started doing damage. Because it was just going to keep doing damage until you reached 0. And it was gonna... And like, if you had gotten revivified, still would have interrupted the process. You had to die.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which is why he doesn't have the mark.
Bless you. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the whole surrender aspect, Ray.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's what that is the challenge that was put on that one. Doesn't mean that it's a virtuous thing.
No.
But it's just what that god required.
Out of
What's that?
curiosity, did you originally intend for each one of us to end up with a mark?
I intended for Einar to end up with all 3
Okay.
in the original way things I had planned.
Obviously,
I still
that
have
hasn't
it.
happened.
Obviously, I have adjusted the plan accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
But the original plan, no, it's fantastic. I love
I
it.
would have revivified you anyway, though. The transfer wouldn't have been
That's
complete.
true.
Yeah.
He would have.
And so returning though, a month and a half later, after we went away for the holidays and came back January 18th, 2021. We find Ray waking up from what appeared to be a short-lived coma.
Yep.
As it appeared, he had stopped bleeding almost magically, the knife that pierced his heart should have killed him. But something held off the wound long enough for him to be found and treated. And when Ray went back to sleep as he recovered, for the first time in years, he found himself face to face with his wife. His wife that he had called out to days prior, who had been there and who had saved him. They had a wonderful conversation before bidding a temporary farewell, with her insisting that he not be in a rush to meet her, but that when he did eventually arrive, she would greet him with open arms.
Where does she reside again? What's the name of it?
Elysium.
It is Elysium.
Ray awoke and got to work. Eventually, with Rhys convening with his namesake and going on a short mission, finding that his mentor, his namesake, was verging on what was possibly the end of his life. Rhys's namesake talked to Rhys about the game that the Fae Queens played. A constant battle and struggle that could never be finished. But he talked about how Rhys and all the Fae that served the Queens were just pieces in those games. In that game. And Rhys's namesake knew that he might be on the block. He might be in a position where the enemy side is moving in and there's no choice but to allow that piece to be sacrificed. And warned you that there could be consequences on your behalf if that happened. Not regardless. Given their personal journeys, eventually the renegade docked in Aeris. And as it was mooring, Ray and Rhys were independently returned to the material plane. Makoto was unhappy that her father had left.
Yeah, and I got caught up in it.
Again. And proceeded to Gravity Well?
Hey, yeah,
Yeah,
It was
gravity
reverse
sync.
gravity,
It was reverse gravity.
because I was able to grab something to stop it, but you weren't. Or did you?
I think I got caught up.
He did
in
not.
It too.
Yeah.
Oh, and as
We
an
all
import-
suffered when
as an
Makoto
important
was
note,
angry.
as a result of leaving the ship in order to pursue the path of an artificer, Ray's hand was not able to be treated by Kaya. And during his recovery, there was no choice but to remove it, as there was nothing else that could be done to save it. And so Ray arrived, not quite the man he was when he left.
Just one arm shy.
Not, yeah.
He was most of the man that
Half
he
of the
was. When
Most
he
of the
left.
man.
That's right. So what is he like?
Start splitting a half.
So I was gonna say, is he like 48% now?
48%, yeah.
There you go. I feel like a hand is more than 2%.
Yeah, more like 45.
Oh yeah.
Regardless, the party reconnected and joined forces once more.
To go drinking.
Yeah, we all got hella drunk. You slipped me moonshine.
Indeed.
Slipped. You were already wasted. I gave it to you.
No. I was drunk. Riss was aware of his faculties at the moment, and then you slipped him moonshine, and he... Did I pass out? I think I
Yes, you did.
Yeah, okay.
You were gone.
I couldn't remember if
my
I
friend.
passed out or if I was able to make it to the bed, but yes.
No, yeah. And Makoto also went and got heavily intoxicated because she was not happy.
Yep. Huh, like father, like daughter. Drink away your problems.
Listen.
Alcoholism has been shown to be hereditary, so just keep an eye on that.
Oh yes, very much.
Interesting.
The party proceeded to get a new look.
That's right, we got new threads.
for yourselves. Some new
did.
threads. A little bit of a shopping episode.
Yeah.
Yes, I got my cloak, I got my bow. Man, Riss was set. Oh, don't forget.
And Ray decided to open an account
Yeah, he did.
with the Arisian Bank.
Oh, no.
And he decided to open it under the name Einar Kasabov.
That's right. The memories are flooding back to me.
I have the verification questions written down and their answers.
Please read them for the class.
Under the influence of Zone of Truth, which is a precaution that the bank used in order to prove identity, Ray was asked for his father's name, which he said he did not remember. Asked if he had children. Yes, one. Their name, Holiday. His home, Arklands. And a code word, to which he gave Outsiders. This was, at first, not an issue. But it might come up later.
No! No!
So
I
now,
thought I was done with that!
technically, in the banking system, you have a child.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
You also have a civil arrest.
Oh no!
Don't forget about the Rangers of Nonsense.
Oh, yes. During these excursions and downtime, Riss had an encounter with a group of rangers. I think we were all just a little out of it that next week, and it had been an exhausting week, so I said, you know what? We're going to do a little spin-off one-shot, and you all get to play these rangers, and Riss, you can play yourself, as they recruited you for a mission.
Yep.
And it was insanity.
It was.
It was a great time.
I'm impressed
Yes.
you survived.
Yes,
So am I.
Noah was playing a gnome ranger,
Hadassah,
who got chucked into a gearkeeper construct.
Hadassah is the weapon.
Yep.
Yeah.
Got launched multiple times and used as a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great time.
It was.
But they won the day and retrieved a shipment of residuum, an extremely valuable resource. The party then took the Arisian Railway, a technology that was new and confusing to Riss, as he did
Terrifying.
not have very much experience with things of a mechanical nature. But they made their way across the region of Aeris to the city of Mika. Along the way, they met a woman named Theriastra, who they proceeded to gamble with with some fairly high-stakes games. After, I believe, Riss attempted to get in her good graces.
And in her pants.
That is what I meant.
Did I roll?
Way to be totally untactful about it.
Yeah.
Did I roll? For that?
I don't.
You absolutely did,
Did you?
because
Okay.
she hardcore rejected you and had taken a liking to
Sure.
Einar.
To be fair, she knew what her type was, and there was very little similarities between Riss and Einar.
Exactly.
The women of Aeris apparently just like Einar.
Well, he's like the dream.
He's a big man.
Tall, dark, and handsome.
That's true.
Anyway, Theriastra took a liking to Einar and spent a night with him on the train. And then another one.
Well, that was not on the train.
That is true.
Later.
And then when they arrived at her destination and spent about a week, I think, buying some magical items, taking some downtime, Einar met up with her again and spent a night. And proceeded to have more action than anyone else in the campaign thus far.
For the record, my kid is in our party. Just letting everyone know that.
That only proves
to repeat something that I heard myself say in that first episode recording, that only proves it happened once, and for Einar it happened at least twice that we know of.
Mm-hmm.
How many people here in this campaign have characters that were married at one point? Only me.
Not that I remember much of it.
No, that's true. Hey, that wasn't what Dashi made me.
A little bit.
Well,
No,
he made your wife, so.
He was 50% responsible for that. So
Listen.
that I don't know how Wish works, but
Right, which is why you can remember bits and pieces. Besides, it was his training that helped you fall for Hana in the first place.
no, maybe.
It's
you
the
said
entire reason you spent time together.
you saw her fight and said, "Dang, I like a woman who can kick my ass."
That is very true of Ray. I don't know if it's true of Ryan, but you tell me you haven't described Hana, and that is not 100% true of Ray.
I'm not saying anything.
He said, "I plead the fifth."
That's right.
Valid. They received some information from Theriastra, as well as another individual they met on the train,
Oh, this dude.
named Kadir.
Yep, that was where we met Kadir.
Kadir took a liking to the party and decided
why.
to impart knowledge upon them of...
Priceless nature. Costly
Indeed.
nature.
Yes, he charged the party for some information.
Yeah, what was
As
it, like
one does.
$3,000?
Yeah.
Something like that.
And Ray went, yes, give me the info.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed. Between Theriastra and Kadir, the outsiders were able to discover the location of 2 out of 3 of the Black Books. One was in the Aerisian Museum. The other had previously been held in the hands of a private collector, but had not been seen for some time. The party soon found out that it was no longer in that collector's hands, but had been acquired by Sulan Tavi, the leader of the local thieves guild in the city of Mika. The party, after arriving in Mika, made their way to the Wandering Shadow, a tavern and bar, where they met Sulan, who seemed to have a unique amount of knowledge of the members of the party. And what intrigued them even more was his age. Never before had the party met an elf who had not just white hair but graying, who had wrinkles, who had signs of genuine old age. Sulan never lied in their presence, but certainly kept things to himself, as he is wont to do, and was very, very old and had been around longer than most countries in Arklands. But it also seemed that he had a bit of a friendship with Eroi, the Spirit of Dreams. And Eroi had given him a bit of a heads up to the party that was on their way. What they were after, who they were, what he needed to know. So, Sulan happily invited them to participate in the Katsuran race, the race of champions, for which the prize would be one of the black books. In line with the invitation to join the race, he directed them to a prior champion, the person who had won the past 3 races. You found out, after doing a little bit of research, that there were many races that happened throughout the year at the end of each month. But at the end of the year was the Race of Champions, where all prior competitors and anyone else who received an invitation were invited to come and compete for a much more valuable prize. The past 3 races of champions have been won by a particular racer. The party of the outsiders made their way through the city to find a blacksmith shop. Upon opening the door, Rhys saw the girl of his dreams. Quite literally. Because we're going to rewind a moment, because we haven't touched on this yet.
No, we have not.
After the trial of the Camerites, Rhys began having dreams. A woman, a half-elf drow, who appeared to him and told Rhys that she knew him, that he needed to listen to her. She told Rhys that he was the love of her life, that she was sorry she couldn't do more. And over the course of a few different dreams, you had one the night that the trial finished. 2 nights later, a second. 4 nights after that, a third dream. And immediately followed by a 4th. And then a week and a half, 10 days later, the final dream for a long time. Each one, her connection seemed to be more steady. She was able to give more. And she imparted a string of numbers. 2, 4, 1, 10. That he had to remember. She told Rhys that she loved him, and that she hoped she would see him soon. Returning to the present, Rhys opened the door to that shop to find Zara Nico, half-elf battlesmith artificer, who did not recognize him in the slightest.
Which kind of sucked for Rhys. But he got over it.
He was like, I had already made progress with this girl, and
That's
now
right.
she doesn't know me.
That's right. He was like, it's alright. I shall woo.
They proceeded to recruit Zara's help because she was a little bit intrigued at this half-elf who came on very strong and then was very confused. This was enough to pique her interest and and convince her to help out your party. Over the next month, Rhys and Ray trained with Zara, learning how to operate the vehicles that she had worked on, that she had made, that she had used to win the races in the past. During this process, Ray also took out a loan under Einar's name.
Because he had opened a bank account under Einar's name.
It worked out, though.
The purpose of the loan was to purchase enough enhanced residuum, as during their time in Aeris, the party had discovered that there were new arcane ways of enhancing the magical material, giving it unique traits, and by creating ionized residuum, they could enhance their vehicles with magic items and spells, essentially tricking the magic enchantments into thinking that the vehicles and their riders were one and the same. So they spent a lot of money buying a lot of residuum. By the end of the year, the party was ready. Rhys and Zara had their single-person mounts, and Einar, Ray, and Makoto were ready with a vehicle more akin to a dune buggy.
Heck yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They were ready to compete. They were ready to win. And that is where we pick up episode 1 of The Outsiders.
We gonna race, boys!
See you there.
Thank you very much for joining us for this recap and making it through all of our shenanigans, all of our craziness, and we look forward to telling you our story.
Yeah, if you like the craziness here, you'll have plenty of it. With
Yes,
every
you will.
episode to follow.
Thank you very much, and see you next time.
Toodles.